Akio.
And this is AJ. And this is Crash Course History of Europe.
And today we're going to talk about how the inefficiencies of Robespierre and the Directory caused the rise of Napoleon.
Admittedly, we don't really know what happened.
Or how a really short guy was able to take over, but we're determined to find out.
The French Revolution, like many other revolutions, exchanged an authoritarian regime for another one.
However, these many, and trust me when I say many, authoritarian regimes had major inefficiencies that in the end another authoritarian regime was able to take over.
Confusing.
We know.
Louis XVI was guillotined in 1792, and that was just the beginning of the many executions that were to follow. After the execution of Louis XVI, the Jacobins came to authority in the government under Robespierre and his Committee of Public Safety, which is pretty ironic that the word safety is in there since the committee killed everybody that was in their way. Well, I guess that's just 18th century politics. The main goal of the program of the convention, with the help of Robespierre, was to repress anarchy and counter-revolution in France. It also wanted a democratic constitution and legislation to the lower class. These were all very good goals on the part of the convention, and if they had been successful, they probably would have spared France all of the revolutions that were to follow. However, they made a major mistake and gave lots of power to Robespierre and his Committee of Public Safety. The Committee of Public Safety, whom as soon as came into power, initiated a reign of terror in France. Anybody who was considered against the new government or the revolution in France were guillotined. They kept track of this with the help of the Committee of General Security they created, and these could be called not-so-secret police. The democracy-seeking convention gave extensive power to the Committee of Public Safety, and they turned it into a dictatorship. Although in 1793, a Republican constitution with universal male suffrage was adopted, it was immediately suspended. The Committee of Public Safety took extreme measures in order to keep the revolution going, and they even changed the religion and calendar of France. In the end, the Committee of Public Safety lost the support they needed, and Robespierre and his associates were guillotined on July 27, 1794. That was the last time the guillotine was used. The terror created a long-lasting effect on the public of France, and it even made them antipathic to the revolution and republicanism, which in the end made it easier for Napoleon to come right in, because as Madame de Remusat stated in her memoirs, the people were so worn out of revolution and liberty was often associated with death that the people only looked for repose under dominion of an able ruler, which in this case was also known as Napoleon.
Okay, so by 1795, or the year 3, the government created a committee which included the French Revolution favorite, Abbé Sieyès, to draft a brand new constitution. Now, on paper, the constitution of the year 3 was perfect. It included social order based on personal liberty, it guaranteed socio-economic equality, it reduced legislative authority, and it even limited the power of individuals and factions within the government. So it seemed that it would satisfy most of the people. However, according to Hunt, Lynn, and Hansen, writing for the Journal of Modern History, the legislators were unwilling to accept the consequences of their handiwork. This led to the formation of numerous political parties. The conservative parties were very hostile toward the government, but were never able to agree upon anything else. The Jacobins, though excluded from power, were able to successfully voice themselves in other ways. This led to political turmoil, more problems with not many being solved in the first place, and an even more revolutionary attitude overtaking the unhappy nation. But the government was also wasting the people's money on war, money that could be used for bread, which French people really love. While some people say that the failures of the government caused the rise of Napoleon, others like Shupman of Indiana University would say that Napoleon rose due to his fine military skills. France was at war with Sardinia, Austria, and Great Britain. In the previous years, the army had often been defeated since it was full of untrained civilians drafted from the Levée en Masse. By 1797, under Napoleon, the army had finally gained enough experience to successfully fight, and the French army found great success in Italy, defeating Sardinian and Austrian forces with what seemed like ease, and after campaigns in the Mediterranean and Egypt, Napoleon came home a hero compared to the Directory, obviously. What do you expect? You have a nation that's tired of war and a guy who's doing the best job that they've seen since the revolution has begun. Robespierre, never far from power it seems, convinced Napoleon to take part in his coup in 1799. Together, the two were able to manipulate and dupe both the government and military officials to successfully form the French consulate. Personally, I think it was a mixture of both. Napoleon had great military skills, but without the government doing such a terrible job, he wouldn't have become Napoleon.
So while Napoleon was comparably a good thing, Robespierre and the Directory were a mess.
Well, Napoleon wasn't the best, but to the people, he was a lot better than Robespierre and the Directory, who in the end only caused more problems than they solved.
But even if the revolution was a mess,
it allowed Napoleon to come right in and clean it up.
La la, cuckoo, coup d'etat, ooh, ooh, ooh la la, Napoleon's here.